You ever notice how every city is an American hidden gem, right up until the point where you buy a house there? Every relocation article sounds like it was written by a drone with a real estate license. Crystal water, charming downtown, exploding job market, outdoor lifestyle, farm to table everything. You know, it's paradise, it's perfect, it's affordable. Then you move there and your bank account starts to have seizures. Here's the thing nobody wants to say out loud. It's not a bad place, it just betrayed your expectation. These cities didn't collapse, they didn't turn into wastelands, they just quietly drifted away from the version of themselves they advertised. So today we're talking about so-called paradise cities that everyone rushed to and now are quietly thinking about leaving. Each one of these cities has seen a rise in move and relocation searches. Let's take a look. Number 10, Charleston, South Carolina. Historic beauty, modern prices, and a touch of the deep south. In the best way possible. Charleston's not backwoods south, but it's deep south. Charleston sells romance for a living, pastel houses, ocean air, carriage rides, and brunch menus that read like European literature. Charleston real estate has climbed so fast over the last handful of years, you'd think they're just trying to outprice everyone that can't afford a $2 million home. Now, to be fair, it is a beautiful city with beautiful homes. They're just very expensive, especially if you want to live within walking distance of the beach. That's where it gets crazy. So they got a lot of newcomers, and the newcomers discover humidity has a personality, and insurance companies also appreciate waterfront property. Homeowners insurance and flood coverage have climbed into luxury territory, while wages stayed firmly at hospitality based. This whole part of the country, if you have the slightest chance of getting hit by a hurricane, your insurance has gone up to unreasonable prices over the last decade. Florida, obviously, the one being hit the worst. People came for the charm, they left after learning charm renews annually at a higher premium. Moving and relocation searches in Charleston in 2025 was up 11%. Number 9, Sarasota, Florida. For years, Sarasota was on deck for the retirement crowd, right behind Miami and Naples. It was beaches without chaos, culture without crowds. Then Naples and Miami became ridiculous, and people started looking for a better place. Now, Sarasota's always drawn in the retirement crowd, but as Miami and Naples and a few other places got more and more expensive, Sarasota stepped in to grab the overflow. This, of course, brought in some problems. HOA fees, insurance spikes like we talked about earlier, and condo assessments started acting like second mortgages. Fixed income retirees realized paradise was on a variable rate plan. Now, this is something that sucks about retiring in Florida. Over the last few years, the cost of living for seniors has risen sharply. Depending on the area, it has gone up 15 to 22% in Florida. Other southern states where people retire, South Carolina, it's gone up 6 to 9%, again depending on the area. Georgia is up 8 to 11%, and Mississippi will give you $5 if you just show up. Now, I'm not saying Sarasota is a bad place. I'm just saying it's getting a little more expensive than a lot of the people that move there bargain for. Relocation searches in Sarasota are up 13%. Number 8, Bend, Oregon. Mountains, breweries, and missing middle class. Bend was marketed as an attainable Aspen, outdoor recreation with normal human pricing. That's how it used to be. It was also a place where a lot of 30-year-olds moved to when they got tired of living in Portland. For a lot of years prior to Portland falling apart, it was a pretty cool place for 20-somethings to live. Great music scene, breweries, had that whole hippie vibe going on. And a lot of the people that were living that life, when they hit about 30, 35, they headed down to Bend. Because for a while, Bend was a little more expensive, but it wasn't crazy expensive. That all happened, I'd say, within the last 5 to 10 years. Bend changed. Remote workers arrived with coastal salaries, and the housing ladder pulled itself up behind them. Service workers commute from neighboring towns, and locals quietly cash out and relocate to places where owning a home doesn't require a tech salary. Bend didn't lose beauty. It lost affordability faster than it gained population. So a lot of those people that moved down to Bend, let's say 2015 to 2020, it's not that affordable Aspen anymore. It's still an alternative to Portland if you got the money. Bend's relocation searches are up 14%. Number 7, Bozeman, Montana. Yellowstone without the fiction. Bozeman became a lifestyle brand. Skiing, ranch aesthetics, and wide open views. Then the real estate market started quoting numbers normally reserved for oceanfront property. Local wages never stood a chance against out-of-state equity buyers. People still move to Bozeman for the dream. Locals move away because of the rent. Again, I don't think Bozeman is a bad place. I just don't think it's that affordable beauty it used to be. As a matter of fact, I know it's not. It's ridiculously expensive. You know who moves to Bozeman now? Megastars, agents to those stars, and tech billionaires. You know who doesn't live in Bozeman anymore? Fifth generation Montanans. It's too bad. You're losing a lot of your culture there. Relocation searches in Bozeman are up also 14%, just like Bend, Oregon. Number 6, Greenville, South Carolina. Small city that got big attention. Greenville built a near-perfect downtown and the country noticed. Rankings, relocation lists, and corporate expansion followed. I'm one of the people that has been promoting Greenville for about 5 or 6 years now. I got family from the area, and they moved there about 10 years ago, before it took off. And when it took off, it followed the typical pattern. Housing surged quickly, infrastructure lagged politely, and longtime residents realized affordable gem was now priced like a medium-sized metro without the salaries to match. 20 years ago, Greenville was a quiet textile town figuring itself out. Then they rebuilt Main Street, added Falls Park, polished the riverfront, and suddenly it felt like someone dropped a Hallmark movie set in the foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains. Companies moved in, remote workers followed, housing prices noticed. Now you've got a city that still feels small and polished, but the cost of entry doesn't always match the paycheck options. It's not that Greenville lost its appeal, it's that it upgraded faster than the average salary did, and the locals don't want to stick around for it. And even some of the newcomers who moved to South Carolina for affordability, and Greenville was a nice, affordable town, it's starting to change. And it's the same old story being played out across the United States. Success invited popularity. Popularity invited pricing. Relocation-related searches in Greenville are up 17% over the last year. A few months back, I started getting flooded with robocalls. We all get them. Sometimes it's a few a day, sometimes it's a few a week. This day, they were coming one right after another. And that's when I realized some data broker had my information and was putting it online or selling it to people. Google your name. Seriously, it's kind of scary how much you can find about someone just by Googling them. That includes all their sensitive information too. I'm always trying to keep my family's privacy safe, and let me tell you, it can be a full-time job. You gotta search through sketchy websites, contact people, have your information removed. That's why I'm actually pumped about today's sponsor, Aura. Aura is an identity theft protection service that does all that internet digging for you. They find where your information's been leaked and then they delete it. Plus, they monitor your credit, keep tabs on data breaches, and even alert you if your phone number is being passed around to robocallers. Speaking of robocallers, I used to get so many of those spam calls every single day. Ever since I started using Aura, they've practically disappeared. They also send me emails when more of my information pops up. You can manage what they track, how they notify you, and what info you want locked down. I've tried a bunch of different identity theft protection services before, but all of the tools I needed were on different apps, and it was just a nightmare. Aura keeps it simple, everything in one place. Your personal information is floating around online. Aura is worth checking out. They're giving my viewers a 2-week free trial, so just go to aura.com/Briggs, see what comes up. You'll probably be shocked at what you find. And don't worry, Aura keeps all of your stuff safe and encrypted, and they're not selling your data to random companies. You control what stays public and what gets deleted. Take some control back of your digital life. Try Aura. Number 5, St. Petersburg, Florida. Yes, Florida is going to be on this list a lot. And that's because one of the biggest problems the entire state has is insurance and how much it costs. It's crazy. What you're looking at is sunshine meets insurance math. That's the problem. You're getting all the sunshine, it's just some of the insurance math and other costs, they're not adding up like they used to. St. Pete offered coastal Florida without Miami energy, artsy districts, walkability, and a calmer pace. Then insurance markets tightened and housing appreciation ran ahead of local incomes. Residents found themselves paying premium coastal costs in a city that still pays inland wages. It's like Sarasota, St. Pete's one of those places you move to as an alternative to Miami. And that's how it was for years. I mean, it was always a little more expensive than other places, but not crazy expensive. Then it started getting crazy expensive, and you started losing some of its popularity and some of its shine. St. Pete's relocation searches are up 19% over the last year. Number 4, Traverse City, Michigan. Traverse City is a vacation town, especially during the summer when they got their cherry festival and everyone hits the Grand Traverse Bay. It's on Lake Michigan, but that's the bay they're in. And this is an attractive town. It's actually kind of beautiful. For a while there, it was considered one of the most beautiful cities in the United States. I'd like to tell you what website that was that said that, but that was back in like 2017. But at one point, it was considered one of the most beautiful cities in the United States, and it still is. It's just gotten more expensive than a cold climate place should. I mean, summers are wonderful here, but it gets cold. It is Michigan, and it's up there. During the summer, it has a lot to offer. Like I said, the cherry festivals, wineries, water views. It feels like a permanent holiday postcard. But year-round residents discovered living inside a vacation destination means competing with second home buyers and short-term rentals. Everyday housing became seasonal pricing. Tourists visit for a week, locals pay for it all year. Up until about 2000, they were losing population. They were on a losing streak since the 1970 census. Then in 2010, they started gaining population. And again in 2020, and they've gained an estimated 2% since then. So as the people came in, prices start to go up. Add on the fact that people are buying up some of the homes for Airbnbs, and you've got a beautiful town whose home prices have doubled in 8 years. The average home value in 2018 was $233,000. Right now, in 2026, it's $437,000. A lot of the longtime residents have seen how prices have climbed, and they're deciding to cash out. They've seen an increase in relocation searches of 21%. Number 3, Flagstaff, Arizona. Cold weather, hot housing market. Now, right away for most people that have never been to Flagstaff, or Arizona for that matter, they probably think Flagstaff is another place in Arizona that is just blistering hot. It is not. It's actually one of the snowiest cities in the United States. It's up in the mountains. Flagstaff is a beautiful city and my personal favorite in the state of Arizona. And I'm not the only one. This mountain escape drew desert refugees seeking pine trees and breathable summers. But as the years gone on, limited land, student demand, and relocation interest squeezed inventory. Housing costs rose to levels unsupported by the local employment options. And I mean, come on, it's a mountain town, just like Bozeman and a lot of other places that have that outdoorsy vibe like Bend. As it got more popular, people with bigger salaries started moving in. So the people that have been living there for decades or just moved in there within the last 15 years, it's not the same Flagstaff. It's still a great place to live. It's just become too crowded and too expensive for longtime residents. Their relocation searches are up 21% also. Number 2, Wilmington, North Carolina. You know, honestly, I think this may be the first time we've ever talked about Wilmington, North Carolina on this channel, but it fits this category. Wilmington has that coastal confidence where everything feels like it's one sunset away from a Nicholas Sparks movie. Historic riverfront, live oaks dripping with Spanish moss, beaches close enough to make "I'll just run down there for a minute" a dangerous sentence for productivity. For years, it was an under-the-radar alternative for bigger East Coast beach cities. Then word got out, retirees, remote workers, investors, everyone wanted a piece of the laid-back coastal life without Miami's price tag. Home prices responded enthusiastically. Wages? Not so much. Now Wilmington sits in that awkward space where it still feels like a relaxed beach town, but the housing market acts like it's auditioning for a major metro area. It didn't change its vibe. The price tag just stopped whispering and started shouting. Now, Wilmington remains a great place to visit. It's just a harder place to settle these days. Now, if you've got the money and you're not terribly worried about your budget, yeah, absolutely. I mean, is it the most expensive East Coast beach city? Absolutely not. But people over the last decade or so that have moved there moved for the affordability. Now that affordability is climbing a little bit faster than it probably should. Just like their search for relocation places. That's up 22%. All right, before we get to number 1, did you know we have a Facebook page? I ask a lot of questions on there that eventually work their way into videos. So if you ever want to be a part of our videos, go over to our Facebook page. There's a link for it down below. All right, on to number 1. And number 1, Naples, Florida. Yep, like I said, there's a lot of Florida on this list because a lot of weird things are going on, and most of it centers around insurance prices. Now, Naples used to be expensive but predictable. Then post-pandemic migration reset the baseline entirely. Even high earners found the cost of entry staggering. Service workers moved inland, retirees downsized locations, and the workforce radius expanded outward daily. Naples didn't become worse, it simply moved financially out of reach for almost everyone. And this is getting a lot of longtime residents and even some of the newer residents eyeing other places. Naples relocation searches have surged 27% over the last year. All right, that's today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got some information out of it. Now go out, have a great day, be nice to each other.